So, are the aircraft or spacecraft one of the things that excites you? If yes, then this webinar is one for you. With us, we have one of the finest speaker of our webinar series, Mr. Veer. He's an experienced, talented personality. He's an experienced, talented personality in the field of design and analysis of automation of aero engines. He has total he has experience of 9+ years in design stress analysis of aero engine components as engineer experience in handling FEA related projects. He has knowledge of design optimization tech, of techniques of HCF components. He's also specialized in aerostructures analysis, FEA analysis using NSS, NSC pattern, Nastran optimization techniques like eyesight, static analysis, model analysis, sub-modeling, hand calculation using Airbus method, and method engineering work standard validation. He's working for one of the finest brands in the world, and he is the most he's the top-notch speaker of our webinar series. Mr. V, sir, we welcome you here.
Are you able to hear me? Yeah, hi.
Yes. Hi,
Hi
sir.
all. Yeah, thank you for the introduction. Fortunate that on this Sunday evening we are having webinar. I'm sorry for all the viewers who are here because this is a weekend time. So, but still, I feel this topic is something which is interesting and exciting, where people can definitely gain a lot of knowledge in what is current going with the in industries and what the people in a company expects. At least a smart way of working is something what we are looking for. And thank you for your Divyam. So uh, because of your effort, like today, we could able to get this webinar today here. So hi all people.
Thank you, sir.
As said, today the topic is industrial automation. So there is a
Yeah.
lot of perception regarding automation. So what exactly in automation? Like most of us do really know, but we people coming from different backgrounds, I wanted to make this topic very at a surface level, at a generic level. If anybody needs to start an automation, like what exactly any person can do an automation at the surface level is what I'm currently going to take it here. I know people are from different backgrounds, like CSE, mechanical, aero, let it be any stream, but automation is a day-to-day activity. It is like as simple as a DNA in a body. So any companies nowadays are depending on digitalization, automations, and machine learning, something of that sort. So this is something which is an end of our. And now due to the ongoing COVID situation, I feel that there is a lot of opportunities for everybody to explore this kind of opportunities, which will definitely help the student to come up with new techniques, and that adds value for the resume as well. So a small intake in any activity that they do every day, if they can inject this kind of skills, will definitely enhance their profile in a very visible manner whenever it goes to any companies. Okay, so let us go to our topic. So I'll just start with an introduction. What is exactly an automation? So if you go through this definition from Wikipedia, automation or labor-saving technique is a technology by which a process or a procedure is performed with minimal human assistance. Say we do a day-to-day activity where, where we definitely be through a lot of human assistance. So slowly, what we will find is every day if you're doing the same repetitive job, however, doing that in a different way with minimum human effort. And automation or automatic control is the use of various control systems for operating equipment such as machinery, processes in factories, boilers, and heat treating ovens, switching on for telephone networks, steerings, and stabilizers of ships, aircrafts, and other applications and vehicles with minimum or reduced human intervention. All the sources is open, but what the thing is that we need to change our perception which we are seeing in automation. Every day-to-day activities we are having in automations. We are accustomed with lot of technology that it looks like automations. So I'll be going through the series in the next coming slides. So The next slide, if you see an automobile industrial evolution, so in 3500 BC, when human was struggling to transport any luggage or a load, he had developed a wheel. So after that, from wheel it came to boat. So post that, people were using horse for their traveling. After that, in 1783 AD, there was a hot balloon where people used to travel on hot balloon from one place to another. Again, in the year 1787, we got a steam engine. So after that, the evolution got from cycle to steam locomotive. Again, from 1862, it came to car. So again, in 1867, there is a start of motorbikes, and 1903, the great Wright brothers started Aero Industries, and so on. It continues till now, where we are looking for a telepathy technology, where if you see, man has reached to such an extent that he will be able to travel to Mars and anywhere. So what if the human stops thinking, okay, if wheel is fine for us, so if wheel alone is okay for us, then where would we had been? That would be a simple question. So every time any technology come, there is an adjacent technology which is nothing but something better, something better. Say, in olden days, we never used to have a switch or a fan. So it so used to be that people used to rotate a stick where it would produce the air similar to the fan. After that, the technology has changed with a crankshaft kind of thing, where they used to rotate a wheel such that the air used to come. The evolution of electricity, an electrical fan came. After that, we used to get a regulator. Opposed to a regulator, we now are having a remote controlled and lot of fantasy kind of uh, fan. In the same way, if you see a technology, any technology or any phone, say a Nokia which started its phone, to now whatever we are using, an iPhone or something of that kind. So every time there is a complete evolution in the requirement, where instead of keeping lot of uh, human assistance, now the things are going better and better in a much sophisticated and an automatic manner. So going further, I believe the earlier slide just wanted to give the crux of what exactly is the requirement for automation. So slowly, when we are getting evolved, say if a person wanted to make a rocket, or say a helicopter or a bike, so if a person alone will sit at his home or his company, start developing a bike with his hand or some of his traditional equipment whatever he has. So in order to meet the requirement for now the current generation, then it would take years of time for him to produce at least 1,000 or 2,000 bikes whatever he's having. So definitely a person or any industry is now depending on those techniques, which would definitely enhance a person to come up with heavy production or quality production as well. So I would like to emphasize few more points. The technology by which a process or a procedure is accomplished with minimum or without human assistance. So if you need to make a bike where you need to have a handle. So every time if you now operate a machine, it will develop the handle, or suppose a chain. Sorry, I'm using some generic terms so that it will be very easy and clear for the people who are going through this pack. So with minimum human intervention is, you need to now, if suppose if you wanted to make any equipment, you need to go switch it, monitor it, see okay the work is happening or not. And after the production came, the product comes to your hand, you need to do your minimum quality checks, which are mandatory for the day. A technique that can use for reduce of cost and or improve the quality. Every time any industry looks for an improved qualities, like say every time you cannot keep on giving the same quality. So day to day, in when you're practicing, you will be striving for your better approach or the best product out of you. So the automation is a technique which will help in reduction of cost. What do you mean by reduction of cost? I will make this much general. Say most of our people will be doing a program or something. Say you will just click it and you can go and have a copy and come back, where the machine or the program will do the work and it will give it to you, rather than you sitting in front of machine writing the code or writing the script and wasting your time. If you are smart enough, you can develop that kind of things. Or say a whole night, if you are downloading a movie, say you are downloading a movie, so you can put a download button in the evening time. You can go to a sleep wake up in the morning, see, okay, you can see, okay, my movie got downloaded. A simple typical example of that. Can increase the manufacturing speeds, which reduce costs incurred in human error or slow working style. Typically, a human who is allocated 8 hours of working in his day-to-day activities, he will be tired after some say 4 to 5 hours, and he will be under a lot of human emotions, or say he had a bad day, or it can be anything. So in that kind of thing, what is happening is there would be mistakes which would be incurred by human. So because of that, the manufacturing speeds will be less, or the production unit, the number of products that should be output is, say, if the worker needs to give some 20 products, because of this kind of day-to-day activities, he is able to give some 15 or 20, which is not going to meet the requirement. Also, the quality plays a very vital role. Can lead a product having consistently good quality. As I said, if you're purchasing any product, say you purchase a phone, or you purchase a bike, or anything, you will go for the best quality product. What is the sorry, what is the requirement for that? Because you're paying the money, for which you need to get the required quality, and the quality should be consistent as well. It is implementation using program and instructions combined in within a controlled environment that executes the instructions. As I said, you need to have the control over the environment on which the automation really works. Say you need to provide suitable inputs, and you would be looking for the environment in such a way that the output should be of the desired fashion, or the required output as well. Automation is the key to shorter work and smart working style. Nowadays every industry is looking for smart employees, like the way we look for a smartphone. The word smart has a lot of meaning. Why smart is important as well? Because a smart worker is a person who does the work much efficiently with minimum errors. And also, you are allocated 8 hours or 9 hours of time, but when you go for companies, there are people who will be working for 12 hours or 13 hours. So they are called hard workers, but the key and the value added is for the smart working style that we need to adapt. So automation will be like a catalyst for us to go work and deliver a smart working style culture as well. Automation products results in lower prices and better products. If you see, when you make a product with your hand, say you are able to make 100 products a day manually. Now if you are making 1,000 products the same day, the 8 hours of your working style, if you are making 1,000 products, so the quality, the 8 hours of work and the quality of the product is superior, and the time is much lesser than what is intended, then the product cost will obviously come down. So that is the meaning of this particular, more or less, what is the requirement? Why do we need to have an automation in our day-to-day life? So what exactly industries, what is the reason for industries to adopt this kind of working culture is something which I wanted to emphasize from this particular slide. Before that, if you notice, I would like to emphasize on the third point. Can increase manufacturing speed, which reduces cost incurred in human error or slow working style. This human error is something which is much bigger than what we imagine. I would quickly go through a traditional important example that we come across life. Yes. So if you're able to see the screen, the figure on the top shows the most famous Titanic RMS, which shrunk around 100 years back. Most of us know the reason behind the sinking of Titanic ship is the person who needs to see that there is an iceberg which is passing through the ship could not see because of could not see the iceberg because of the low visibility, and also there is no binoculars. If you see the history, there is no binoculars, and there were other theories that he was involved in a party which was going in the ship during the same time when the iceberg was passing through. So this error is something considered as one of the top disasters in the human, because at that time Titanic was known as unsinkable, but such a ship, because of a small human error, because of the human vision error, there was an issue. So this kind of problems were now eliminated by using satellite technology. So the bottom picture here shows that how far is the iceberg from the location is identified by using satellites. I have my friend who is working in merchant navy. I asked him what is the technology that you would be using to identify. He said if we were supposed to travel 100 nautical miles a day, then there would be a chopper which would be allocated for that particular ship, which would be traveling, also taking the satellite images and look how far is the iceberg, what is the impact of the iceberg, and how to eliminate it in a much better and advanced way. So if you now see, if this kind of technologies or this kind of skills would should not be adopted, then definitely this kind of disasters would not be eliminated. So human error is something which is the most important and which is the most likable chance for any product to collapse. So in order to come across with the quality and also eliminate the human error, this kind of technologies were adopted. So going forward, where all we do have this automations. So if you see, automation rules the entire world. Say if you, I will just give you a few examples of where all the industries that an automation would exactly play. As you all know, manufacturing industries, say let it be a plastic chair to, and any manufacturing industries are now relying on automations. Electronics and robotics industries, robotics is one of the fantastic examples where you can say, where a person develops a program. Say I make a robot which would be intended to do a particular job. I would automate my process using a robot, and that robot would in turn do a product with a superior quality and with minimum errors or with minimum issues which would be facing. Assembly units, most of us see there would be a lot of products which would be coming and assembling. Suppose a human was given, if you take a simple carburetor as an example, a typical carburetor would be having minimum of 150 components, subjected to various engines. So 150 components assembling by one single person at a day-to-day activity would be really hectic and confusing, because if a slight mismatch of the product which would go and sit in any equipment and it would come and had a catastrophe, that would definitely mess up the company's reputation as well. Hospitals and pharmaceutical industries, as you now know, the automations and robots whatever we are developing were used in making surgeries. And pharmacy industry is a very sophisticated industry where if you where we were not allowed to touch the product, because the amount of sanitary that you need to the amount of neatness that you need to go across is well taken care. So computer integrated manufacturing, as I said, if you need to manufacture a very tough shape, say if you ask me, a very tough shape would be, let it be any difficult shape that you can, where manufacturing by human is a very challenging activity. Now manufacturing by a machine or an automated process is something which you would be which is now looked into. Civil industries and many more. Yes, every industry is now depending on automations, and these automations are playing much more vital role in day-to-day activities as well. If you say communication industry, the best example, suppose you are making a phone call to anybody, a family or a friend. If the person is busy, initially the person, an operator used to pick up and he used to say, no, I am having, the person is on another call, or the person is unavailable, these kind of things. But now the system is everything automated. If the person is busy, direct the call to this voiceover, else direct to the other voiceover. The transportation industry, the services industries, and the consumer products. So every day, whatever the products that you do, because the day to day, the number of the requirements for every person to person is increasing, the requirements for the products is also increasing. So definitely there is a high there is a very high requirement for the automation integration with everybody in their daily life as well. Fine. If I were in your place, fine, I understand what is the requirement, but what is the requirement for us to discuss about this particular point in this particular session? Because there could be some other session, but why is an automation is something which needed to be discussed? So that should be a question as an engineer, because everybody we would be coming across, if you question ourselves that why these kind of questions in our day-to-day activities, then we definitely we will come up with our own plans and ideas. The reason why we are doing this presentation or this session at this point is, if you see, the education system doesn't focus much on automation as a value, because it feels that it is a value adder, and the technical subjects are of most importance. I don't really feel that automation is something which should be put only for our engineering perspective, but in engineering or education syllabus should accustom a simple automation technique with an engineering integration, such that it becomes very vital and very helpful. Definitely, if you see a MATLAB code, or say VB code, they are also value added. But how many people will definitely do in their in their engineering activity? I see very less percentage of people who will be doing it. So that is the primary reason why we are injecting this kind of working culture. Say you come across with 4 years of your engineering, where you will come across with a very good culture of automation and smart way of working. If you adopt that kind of working style in your day-to-day activity for all your engineering level, and integrate your engineering knowledge as well, then definitely by the time you're out, you will definitely be a smart person to work across. And if you're having any kind of automation skills enhanced with yourself, that would definitely add a lot of value for your resume as well, the profile, because companies will definitely look into a person who is smart enough. So automation is something which is out of syllabus, but it's an end of our need. As I said, the second point, industries need smart working people and adaptable people for the latest market scenarios. As you see now, there are a lot of people. The companies are reducing the work size, but they are looking for people. They're looking for their production to continue. How would that happen? They depend on robotic skills, but they need people as well. So if we enhance this kind of working culture in our day-to-day activity for your engineering level, that definitely enhance your knowledge throughout your engineering, and you will look for the problem. You will look for the problem in a different way. I would like to quote a famous quote. If any job was given to Bill Gates, he said, I would prefer a lazy person. I would say, instead of lazy, he would like to keep the word smart, because he finds the easiest route to do it. So if you are smart enough in adopting the latest scenarios, then definitely you will be a master of the market. The third important point, now all the industries are depending on computer and artificial intelligence to integrate the working and product life cycle. This is a very good point. Now computers are in everybody's life. I work on a laptop. I'm presenting in front of you on a computer. I'm projecting on a mobile. Everything is a smart, and it's a computer based lifestyle that we are adopting. So we need to find out a way in which this industries, the dependency could be much smarter with the available resources that is present with us. The last and important point, why human error? Why human error? Mistakes for the human error cost more and at the time equal to the company's values. There is a very classic example that I would like to quote here. Somewhere in the year 1996, NASA sent its spacecraft onto moon. Onto Mars. I'm sorry, onto Mars, where the orbiter was rotating around the Mars, and it like to enter into the orbit. So what happened is, it was doing some calculation, and there is a rift between the US kind of metric units to the European kind of metric units. So this particular orbital velocity, the velocity at which the orbit needs to go and sit, you cannot directly drop it, because it simply goes and crashes if the values are unequal. So what it done is, it has given to an agency which is working in France, and that particular company was working on SI units, where the units were totally different what NASA is adopting. Because of that, the spacecraft which was intended to land on moon simply crashed. A simple human error costed them billions of dollars, and ultimately the simple statement what the NASA at that time released was, after all, we are also human beings, we also do mistakes. So at times these mistakes cost the value and the reputation of the companies, such that the companies goes in losses. So where these kind of mistakes would definitely recur and incur, automation plays a very vital role, and automation is the end of our need, which definitely everybody should be looking for and focused as well. So there are a lot of type of automations, but here I would like to emphasize on two topics. One is tool based automations, and one is operations based automations. Say tool based means you write a code script or you design. All this becomes a tool based, where you don't do in a production way. But if you do a production, say you develop a robot or you do a computer aided manufacturing, these are the two type of automations which I wanted to emphasize more on. But robotics is some topic which is out of my scope here. So mostly I would like to emphasize on tool based tool based automations which are expertise from my end as well. So till now I think I have been through what is automation exactly, why do we need an automation, and how an automation plays a vital role. All these things are fine. Here is a simple classical example. Again, I would like to quote that all this information which I got, except the write up, is an open source, so you can feel free to browse it. What is an automation, everything is available. I have taken the slides so precise that it could really be very clear and very open enough to understandable for everybody as well. So here I would just like to quote a simple example how an automation exactly works with simple point. There is a person on with A. So he do everything manually, like he picks up, he do a work, he drops it, he takes the work again, he does the work, drops, so he will do it manually. Next comes the person B. So A is not happy. If you see, he's sad. A is normal happy because he has developed a system such that it picks up all the data. It works. Say if a person makes one brick, B person makes a brick, develops a machine that makes bricks. He is happy. Now comes to a person three, where he picks up the data. Say he gets the data. Say I want a brick of length 10 mm and brick length 10 mm and width of 5 mm. So he collects the data. With that data, he develops the bricks of the required shape, whatever the person needs. And now comes D. This person is okay, not fully happy, but is happy. But this person comes D, where he designs a system such that he makes bricks, a simple bricks. This instead of bricks, it could be anything. He develops a bricks and he integrates the bricks of different shapes and different shape such that it fits the other requirement. Suppose he makes a brick of 5 mm, length of 10 mm and 5 mm, but another brick is of 20 mm and 10 mm. So he takes the brick which is developed from one system, he adjusts the system to other systems as well. So A, B, C, D. The four pictures here clearly state the different kind of automation run. So person one is manual, the second one is a runtime automation, the third one is a data-driven automation, the fourth one is the design-driven automation orchestration. So if you come across these kind of things, there is a lot of difference between person A to person D. So everybody will be definitely starting at a point A. He will have maturity to become point B. He can further become point C, and later he will become point D to achieve at an automation level. So so emphasizing all these points, I would like to do uh, can any hello, anybody can there is a power cut in my area, I'm sorry for that. uh,
Will do it. Please send the PPT to Google. I'll project it on the screen.
Hello.
Yes, sir. You are audible now.
Yeah, I shared you the presentation to Mr. Divyam. You can ask him to present it on my behalf. I'm sorry because of there is a power cut in my area suddenly.
No problem, sir. We'll just do it. We'll ask the attendees to wait for 5 minutes till the time we get the project.
Uh, Anybody taking the control? Mr. Divyam or
Sir, we'll just play the project. Till the time we'll play a short after movie so that the viewers are there watching the video. Right? We'll play a short video.
hello?
Yes, sir.
The power is back. Maybe till the time you can continue.
Yeah,
Once
sir.
my
Yeah,
Wi-Fi
sir.
is up, I'll just.
All right. No problem. We are back. Can you present?
Okay, hi. 1 minute. So you're able to see my screen, right? I'm sorry for the interruption because, as you know, there is issue with the power in the localities due to heavy rains. I'm sorry for that. So resuming from here, I think we were in a very good pace till here. So if you see between A to D, the person A is working manually. He's a hard worker. The definitely there's no doubt in me saying that he's a hard worker. But once it comes to the person D, he's a smart worker. He is able to do multiple tasking at the different level, and the process is also very simple. He has developed the process. He designed and he collected the data. He has developed an automation in such a way they can be interchangeable, and it doesn't need much of his attention as well. So this is the point which I would like to emphasize. What is the requirement of automation? So what to do? So people are from different backgrounds, so just I wanted to just give you an understanding what is an automation at a surface level. If you see, the building blocks of any automation mostly remain same. Say if you take a Python from or you take a VB or you take a C sharp to develop any automation, the building blocks always remains the same. The simple structure of any problem should always remain same. If you wanted to be a good automator, don't develop any softwares. Like learning a software is always a good, like a Python codes, these kind of things. If you know at a surface level, is a very good and fundamental thing. But that doesn't alone make you a good automation engineer. Or if you want to develop any automation, that alone doesn't serve your purpose. I'm sorry. So always remember, develop a simple logic understanding for any software. Say a Python, C sharp, C, or even MATLAB. Everything needs a simpler logical understanding. If the time you start your logical mind in applying your understanding, is the time when you start developing a macro. So always remember, it's good that you start any of your program with a simple flowchart diagram. So for that example, I have considered a simple example called a palindrome number, because with the limitation of time, whatever we are having, if I go with a complex problem, it will be definitely an issue for people who are understanding across. So here I would like to take up this stage where I would say I wanted to develop a simple program for a palindrome num, but I'm not here to develop any program, because if I develop in VBA or a Python or a C sharp, then the person who doesn't know the code will definitely feel it irritated. So here, once I wanted to tell you, most of us know what is a palindrome name. Say if I say a Malayalam or a madam, you're able to see the screen on the bottom part. If you reverse the same name, it appears the same. Say Malayalam, if you read from back as well, Malayam, it's the same as the same. If that is the case, then it becomes a palindrome name. So here, if I were a person, I would simply start with a simple flow chart. Say that is a requirement that I want, because every time I wanted to pull a data, say I wanted to check a name, say whether Malayalam is a palindrome, or say whether India is a palindrome or no. In that case, if that is the requirement, how to develop an automation? I will start with a program where I ask the user to enter a name. Say I ask the person to enter a name. Suppose there might be users with multiple conditions where he will simply enter, say Malayalam, or he will not enter anything. So the first check I would do is to check the length of the name. If the person hasn't entered any name, then the length of this particular name will be 0. So if that is the condition, then the person say type enter name again, and it again goes to the starting. So here you are allowing the person to do mistake proofing. You are not allowing the person to do mistake. If he hasn't entered any name, it means that the person from forward or backward is the same. So it will simply say it's palindrome, but that is not our condition. We are ensuring the person is not doing any mistake. From there it goes to reverse the name and save that in B. So the name is stored as A, and the person is storing the reverse name in B, and next he will go and check. This is its this is a box where you will be making a simple decision. If A is equals to B, yes, then say it's a palindrome. Else false, say that it's not a palindrome. It looks very simple, but see, if you take this as an example for any tool or any language, say Python or C sharp or VBA, C, C++, the outline of everything remains the same. This is how you have to develop, and also ensure that what are the chance of mistakes, how the mistakes can happen, and what should you do in order to make the mistakes as zero. That is where your engineering or your simple logical sense make value added. Here I would like to go through another simple example as well, because showing an outline is something which is good for a skeleton, but let us go with a live demo of how a problem exactly looks for. So most of us know that we were developing tables. Please bear me for a time. I think there is it is taking quite longer time. Okay, fine. Yeah. So if you're able to see my screen, I wanted there would be a requirement from anybody for us to write a table. Say I wanted to write a 5 table. If I entered 5, I wanted to enter from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Correct? And what I will do, I'm just doing as a layman. So I will give is equals to 5 into 1. It is 5. I simply drop it. 5 2s are 10, 5 3s are 15, 5 4s are 20, 5 5s are 25. Now, if I wanted to have it in the reverse order, then what I have to do, I have to go here 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this follows the same. So imagine this is a requirement, and it is a repetitive job. Whatever I do in a day-to-day activity, if I say that I wanted to generate a table, simple 5. Now, if I wanted to write a 10 table, I have to go here, drag it down. I got 50. Now again, I wanted some from 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. So there is a lot of manual process involved, and accidentally where I got a requirement to start from 10, if I say I got an I typed from 12, say I wanted to have it from 10, 11, but accidentally I started from 12 where my results were wrong. Correct? Now there is an additional requirement. Say I need to add all this, all the values. Okay. So the sum of all this is 600. Okay. Now the requirement of the table has increased. Say I wanted to go for another 5 numbers. I'm telling you how a manual work. How can a manual work be replaced with an automation? So see, all these things are updated. See, from 100 to from 10 tens are 100 to 10 20s are 200. You got all the numbers, but again, this number should go and be updated. From 10, if I go back to here, it is 1650. The total value of this number. Now the value is same. Now, if this is my day-to-day activity, why can't I automate it? That should be a process of anybody when the automation is doing. Because now myself, I spend at least 5 minutes before you with playing all the parameters again. See, I don't want to have a sum. I will simply delete it. But if I wanted to have a sum again, then I have to go here, give a function of sum, find till here, enter. Okay. Now, if I do any additional activity, I have to go back and add here as well. Now, instead of that, let us go and develop an automation. Here, what I have done is I have written a simple code in my background in an Excel. Excel will be run by using a scripting of VBA, Visual Basic Application. So here, I will just go and click the button. I will ask the user will be simply, I'll ask the user, what number for which you want to have a table? I will say 10. Very good. From what range to what range you want to have at a table? I will ask from 10 till 20. Do you want to add the table? Yes. I got my answer. You're able to see, right? Within fraction of seconds, I could do all the things, whatever, instead of manually, I'm able to do in the sheet one for the same table 1650. I have got the value corrected. Now again I will ask the user what table you want to do. Okay, 20. I will say from 20 I wanted to 10. I will ask no. Now the table is created in a reverse order. Okay, it's a simple example, because why are we taking simpler examples? Yes, how can a complex problem can be dealt in a simpler way, and the same problem, how can we make it simplified? See, table doesn't look a very complex problem. A complex problem, if you divide and discrete into a simpler way, is what the technique in which you will be solving any problem. You can't swallow an entire piece of pizza in a single shot. You will cut it, or you will chew it as bit and bit pieces to make it further. In the same way, you will take any problem which is handleable by you. So here again, I will run this. I will ask, I want 5 table. I will ask from 1. I will ask 200. I will ask yes. So I got all the 100 tables. If you're able to see the screen, I got till 500. Till 500, I got all the tables, and the value is 25250. Now again, I will play from 5, from 1. I will ask for till 5000. I want yes. You're able to see there is very less human interaction, and there is a mistake proof. If you're handling bulk data in this kind, then definitely it will be very challenging. So this is the way in which automation, you can do automations for many things. For many things, I literally mean, by doing this in day-to-day activity. A simple table is something what you will be looking for, or see, as here, this particular value a, I will use this parameter. If you're able to see my screen again, if I go back, this person will calculate the table one by one. This person has written table for 10 table for 4 values. This person asked the user to write what number you wanted to have a table, what number, say 5 table or 10 table for only 5 values. This person asked the person what is the number for which you want the table, what is the start limit, what is the end limit, do you want to add these particular values. So you have pocketed all the data, and you will be taking this particular data to some other particular parameter. So this is the way in which an automation will be developed. So as I said, I have taken some simpler examples so that it will be very clear and understandable for everybody across. So a simple example like a palindrome, the skeleton in which the palindrome number can be developed. So if I take the same way, I will take the number as simple as if I show it here in the Excel sheet here. I will ask the user. I will simply ask the user what is the number that you want to enter. Okay, I will ask the user what is the starting point of the number and what is the end point of the number. So if do you want to have any additional, this will fail because I haven't given any input for the particular table. So definitely it will say it is not going to do any action. So just I wanted to give you crux of how to develop any complex issues using using a simple flowchart methodology in which I have mentioned here. So whenever any automation that any person wants to develop, or anybody needs to go across with any kind of automation skills in scripting, I purely suggest that this way of working is something which is good and which is adaptable, and by over years of time with regular and rigorous practice, definitely they will have the maturity of the person as shown here. Here, like the person D here. So with the interest of time, whatever I have, so these are the 2 typical examples that I can show. If I would take a complex example, then definitely it will be more confusing, and it will be biased only to a particular requirement. So a simple palindrome name is a simpler example, and a table is something which we have been through our initial levels, and definitely we would be adopting in at our engineering levels as well. So so I would like to go further and deep into it. The key points, whatever we need to take care of these things. The key point, note that the algorithm to develop any automation remains the same. If you ask most of the automation persons who will be developing automation techniques in their day-to-day activities, they would definitely never remember the code or the script in which they have to write. They will learn the fundamental, they will come across the fundamental variables in which they have to take and after that they will develop using the algorithm or the methodology of how to solve the problems and what are the issues when the problem arises. The only key factors remains is the limitations of softwares. Say if you have developed any code in say VBA is an Excel based thing. You cannot expect the same thing to do with Python. So every tool has its own limitations and has its own advantage. If people would be going through numerical techniques, there will be numerical techniques which doesn't follow in singular pattern. Or you say, if most of us who are being in engineering, if you need to go for a log or a semi logarithm kind of scale where you need to find a point on a curve, if you wanted to develop some automation of that kind, a line on log table doesn't follow any single requirement. At that time you need to go with MATLAB, or even you can do with Excel, provided that you are well versed with that kind of thing. So it would be very complicated if you depend on an Excel VBA kind of scripting rather than simple straightforward MATLAB. Also to develop the functionalities of the tools to develop. Say there would be some here sorry yeah, here if I would be writing, say, start, input the name, find the length of name, like here reverse the name and save it in B. So how you can reverse the name? If somebody is new to coding, what he will be doing is, say if I input Malayalam, the number of strings, say it will be 10, he will reverse the number. He will store every character, he will store it in a name, he will add together and he'll form a name. That name would be B. But if you take in VBA, there is a function called reverse string, which would directly do the same purpose of reversing the name. By instead of character, it would be simply reversing the name and it will be storing in a variable B, and it would be simple. So adaptability of the tool or function understanding is something which is most important. You cannot do as I said, it's a smart way of working culture that you need to adopt. You cannot do the work which takes much more time when the feasibility is adopted in some other tools. Like we have discussed about the advantages of automation, there are quite few, or you can say there are cons of automation as well. So the technologies would be too tough to automate. Every time you cannot expect every automation to rule, because there would be very typical or very tough technologies across the world which would be very difficult to automate. And the customized products is something which is a user specific requirements, where the requirements or the customizations will be also out of scope when you are doing any automation. Should be generic. So most of the automations, whatever you do, would be a requirement from any company or for your project. But say you develop an automation for a table, your friend asked the same automation, he wanted to make it for some other particular thing using your particular one, then it may not be the condition, because you have developed a tool for a simple multiplication. He's asking for subtraction or multiplication, where he has to develop from the scratch. So whatever the automation that we will be developing in our day-to-day life should be very generic, and which should be used across various systems as well. That is the way in which you become a good automation personality. Longer development, long development time for complex issues. You cannot expect an automation to be developed all together in a single day or a single night. There would be some automations which would take even months together to just identify the problem and hit the right bullseye. Also, automation leads for a lot of cost savings in the sense of manpower, where you will come across with lot of cost savings by layoffs, or you will be the automation engineer would definitely will do multiple people work in a single shot. Say 10 people, 20 people work can also be done by an automation engineer. So at that time, automation is, though in end of hour, it is also a job cutting sword, which I can say this through this presentation. What are the takeaways from this presentation? Like I would like to emphasize, automation is the development of the industries as a smart way of working culture. As I keep on emphasizing, any automation would be looking for developing a smarter way of working culture by eliminating the waste, and as I said, errors also are something which leads for a lot of catastrophe. Remember, learning any tool is not an automation. Automation is a logic of what to do and how to do, considering the issues and mistake proofing. Just because you know Python, or you say you develop a VB, or you know anything, you are simply trained in that, it doesn't mean that you're an automation engineer. Automation engineer is the person who applies engineering as well as his logical mind in a right direction to come across a converging issue. Automation doesn't solve all the industrial problems, but it always hunts for the burning issues where work can be minimal human effect. Say if you are staying from your college, say 10 kilometers or 20 kilometers apart. So if you can get a person, your friend, who will be traveling say 7 kilometers. So you don't have any transportation, you have to walk all the way 10 kilometers. If you are able to get a lift till 7 kilometers where your friend will be going and he can drop you till 7 kilometers, the other 3 kilometers is something you need to do. So there you are saving 7 kilometers of work. In the same way, industrial automation is something what you, it is not the day-to-day activity that you do. It is something which targets on the burning issues, and it will look into that issue so that the human effort will be less, the errors will be less, and it will be doing a better mistake proofing as well. So if not 100% possible, solve the automation to the nearest possible. So every time whenever you're doing any automation, if you're not able to do say 100% of the problem, if you're able to do say 50%, okay, still you reduce 50% of the error, so 50% of the human effort. So at that time, if something of this kind, always target that whatever the nearest possible automation that you do. Automation integration, so engineering integration with automation is the most important aspect of automation. So you cannot develop an automation something in the air. You have to develop an automation integration with what is the engineering issue of that, what is the issues when you're doing uh, say when you're developing that automation. Say I wanted to make a aircraft which or I wanted to make a say drone which is high fidelity, and it is of very good, and it is unbreakable. But what if I make it with titanium? It will simply fly, or it will just stop there, or the cost will be more. So engineering integration is something which is the most important aspect of any automation. The crux I wanted to emphasize here is engineering and automation. If you go hand on hand, definitely every person will be a master of their work. Without the basics of engineering, automation is like a black box. As simple as you people are simple robots without understanding what is the crux of engineering, and they do automation. Ultimately, I conclude this presentation by quoting the simple line: engineering without automation is a lame, and automation without engineering is blind. As simple as you are an engineer without automation. Engineering without automation is lame, means you cannot work at a higher pace, you will be just crawling. But automation without engineering is as simple as blind. So with this, I would like to conclude what is exactly industrial automation, what is the requirements of it. I could do only 2 examples. I could not take you to much complicated examples as well, because in the understanding of time whatever we have, at the same time with respect to the amount of variants of engineering groups that we have across. So I have taken some simpler examples, whatever possible for us to understand. But better, it is better to start with simpler problems, and developing your interest towards complicated issues is what I would definitely suggest everybody across. So with this, I conclude my presentation. So I am open for question and answers with the interest of time. So please go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. We really enjoyed your presentation. It was very informative.
Thank you for that.
Yes, sir, we have good questions this time. So let's start with the questions. The first question Rakesh has asked is the nanosatellites are the revolutionary change in the field of communication. Can we build
Yes.
a simple nanosatellite using a simple microcontroller like a Arduino, or a microprocessor like a Raspberry Pi? Can we make it?
See, always remember one simple point here. There is nothing stopping for anybody to try it. But
Okay.
what is the thing which is important for anybody across is how feasible it is. You cannot invest all your time to develop an automation for a simpler one. Say, as quoted, satellite technology is something which involves in a lot of cost. At the same time, it is much precision as well. Say, why would I like to be more precision here is there is no slight chance of mistake. Say, as I quoted, there is an example from NASA. NASA had done a simpler mistake in calculation, because of which their satellite has crashed. So replacing with a nano satellite is a very good option, provided that it could intend the purpose. But at the same time, what is most important thing is how feasible is the approach, whatever you do.
Okay, so mainly the feasibility is if feasibility can be managed, then anything is possible in the satellite field.
Correct.
Okay. So the next question is, what are the advancements that can be made in green IoT to support industrial automation using AI humanoid robotics in cyber physical systems and critical infrastructures.
See, I do agree that artificial intelligence is playing a vital role in nowadays, but
Mhm.
how feasible it is, that we definitely need to come across with a lot of time and case studies. There were instances where artificial intelligence is succeeding, but at the same time, you need to
Okay.
understand that countries like India, where people are more dependent on working kind of lifestyle, though artificial intelligence is playing important role, there would be a boundaries which would be fenced across, so that it will help the people not to lose their jobs as well. That is the important point that everybody
Mhm.
should remember.
Sir, how would one would select an automation tool which is best suited for them?
See, that's an interesting question. I would like to say here. I'm see, over my career of this many years, I never learned a tool. I totally against this concept of learning a tool, because everything is an open source. Now
Okay.
you go for a company, nobody asks
Mhm.
you, no, don't see internet and browse. I will definitely browse what are the required commands. All I need to understand is the logic. What is the logic that I want to work? What will be the command? Say if I wanted to go and ask for a simple multiplication in VBA, I will go to Google. I will say, okay, Google, how to multiply two cell values in VBA. The same way, if I work on
Mhm.
Python, I will say how to multiply two numbers on Python. Ultimately, any
Mhm.
person who will be developing an automation should know the backbone of the automation is something which is as simple as the DNA, as I said, the skeleton. I would be going through the approach, whatever I have showed. That is the way it's work. And
Okay.
one more simple point. I believe most of us maybe in software now would be learning C, C++, Java, Oracle, whatever it is. So every software has the same fundamentals of what the way. Maybe the functionalities and the approach in which the work is the same. But I would definitely suggest that as the outcome what you can take. Else you can go with Python, which is a trending one now, or you can go
Yeah.
with C sharp, or you can go with VBA. Anything. Nobody's stopping you from learning. Always learning is something which is very good.
Most of our viewers here are actually for space exploration and aeronautics engineering, so they should go for Python, I think, right?
See, not necessarily Python. See, as I said, there is no software which is asking you for any automation. I would definitely suggest you learn what is the crux of it. Integrate automation in such a way that it is a day-to-day activity. That's what I can suggest you.
Okay. Okay. So our next question here is are there any advantages of workforce automation in agriculture industry?
Uh, See, automation is day-to-day activity. See, initially people used to work on bullock carts. There would be people
Hmm.
who will be developing bullock carts. Now people are working. I have seen people working on tractors. There are people who are working
Yes.
on now drone technologies. Even there are, instead of scarecrows we will be seeing in typical villages, there are people who are using drones to fly them off. So I definitely feel that there is a workforce which is developing for automation in agriculture. But again, as I said, the end user is a customer who will be using your automation
Exactly.
skills. You cannot ask
Hmm.
a farmer to go and use a drone to
Yeah.
get a scarecrow off. So ultimately,
Yeah.
what the thing is, technologies are evolving. Definitely, they're evolving. People are from forecasting the weather. It is possible for rain or no. From that stage, now people are sure shot what is the weather and how can they prevent it. Something advancements are going. Still, there are a lot of things which could come. We can be much advanced than what we are seeing now, provided the end user will be enough educated with the approaches and the methodologies they do. That's what I can say.
Exactly. Exactly. If a mechanical and electronic engineer are so, if mechanical and electronic engineers are suitable for automation industries, what are the scope of what are the scope after engineer in these fields?
See, don't relate it for any simpler engineering, Divyam. What I
Okay.
definitely suggest is every engineering has a scope of automation. Say mechanical, aero, EC, everybody has a scope of automation. The thing
Hmm.
is how you integrate it. See, you catch the pin where it is, then you will be a master of it. So as I said, now industries are not looking for people who will be working for 12 hours or 14 hours or 16 hours. They will be
Mm-hmm.
definitely looking for people who are smart enough and who can do the repetitive job. See, because you cannot develop anything all of a sudden or at one single shot. So what will be happening is you will be developing something which is an existing thing. So develop some day-to-day activities with a smaller one. Keep it as your bag of tricks. So use it whenever you're doing the same operation again. Eliminate the errors and you will be a master of your tool. That's what I can suggest you.
Okay. Okay. So, sir, here's the last question of today.
Sure.
In near future, is it possible to see the automation to be integrated in the aviation, and if possible, will curb the will will curb the cost cutting, will curb the traveling cost.
See, traveling cost is something which companies will be definitely um, uh, the cost will be always less. Else you will not expect an aircraft you will be flying with 3,000 or 4,000 cost. People will be charging some 10 or 15,000 with your daily activity. There will be definitely cost cutting which is happening, but at the same
Okay.
time the technology is also evolving. So whatever the automation that the people invest, they will definitely keep in keep on R&D. New technologies are evolving, new process are evolving. So
So automation in aviation is possible in near future. Sometimes I also think so, but is it possible?
yes, of course, we
For
are. Yeah, please go ahead.
Is it possible for a machine to overlook itself without a human?
See, technologies are there. If you see that recently Facebook has done an experiment, but the
Mhm.
chances are how good it is, how people
Right.
will be using it is also an important thing, because nobody
Mhm.
can risk their life and job. There is a famous quote from one of the top notches of the industries in the world. Suppose everything is automated, so everything is a job cut. Then you can expect a Mercedes for a 10 rupees at least. Because when there is no job, when there is no money, so who will be
Right.
buying
Right.
that same Mercedes? Who will be producing it? So
Right.
everything is direct related.
Exactly. Sir, we had a wonderful session with you today. The
Thank you.
presentation, the presentation, and the your everything was awesome. It was great to have you here with us.
Thank you. Thank you again.
And thank you, attendees, for being with us, being patient. So
Hmm.
I'm sorry for the technical issue.
No, it's
There,
from my end. Power is something out of control. So let us not break our heads about that.
yeah, but and there was some good question also this time.
Uh, See, yeah, I feel that everybody are fine. Thank you for attending. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank-
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you for your patience and have a great day. Bye. Cheers.
Bye, sir.